Hi everyone, I'm Z from Susan's family. Today I'm going to show you a new design, the Lacey Breeze scarf from the Secret Garden series. The scarf includes two types of motifs, large and small. First, crochet and connect all the large motifs. Then crochet the small motifs, and attach them to the corresponding positions. The large motifs start with a chain ring method. Work along the loops of the starting chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. We can crochet according to the order shown in the motif layout diagram. The first large motif is worked separately. For the remaining large motifs, when working the last round, join them to the previous motifs as you go. Now, please watch me demonstrate the exact crocheting method. First, let's learn how to make the first large motif. Note, the yarn I'm using here is random. For specific yarn, color schemes and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instruction. Begin with a chain stitch. Refer to the chart. We start with 8 chains. Then go back to the first chain. Note, don't twist the chain. Pick up the top strand only and join with a slip stitch. The solid circle indicates to pull tight on the slip stitch. The foundation chain is now complete. Start working the first round. Make 3 chain stitches, which counts as 1 double crochet. Then, in the large space of the magic ring, work 1 double crochet. Hide the yarn tail as you crochet. Continue working 22 more double crochets in the magic ring. The stitch count will be high. Shift slightly to the right as you crochet. Once completed, if there's any extra yarn tail left, you can cut it directly. Next, at the top of the starting chain, pick up 2 loops and slip stitch. Pull tight. That's the end of the first round. We will now work on the side with clearer texture from the first round, as the right side of the piece. Continue crocheting the second round. Make 3 chain stitches, which counts as 1 double crochet, then crochet 1 chain stitch. Next, on the double crochet stitch of the left side, work 1 double crochet. One chain stitch. For this round, you'll work into each stitch of the previous round. Work 1 double crochet into each stitch. After each double crochet, connect with 1 chain stitch. Follow this pattern, and complete this round. Once done, pick up the 3rd chain stitch, and slip stitch into the top 2 loops, that is, into the double crochet stitches. Right side, 2nd chain stitch position. That's all for round 2. Continue to crochet round 3. Work 1 chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet. Then, in the same insertion position as the slip stitch below, work 1 single crochet. Next, work 1 single crochet into the chain space on the left side. For the rest of this round, work 1 single crochet into each double crochet stitch from the previous round, and also 1 single crochet into each chain space. Complete this round. The last single crochet is worked perfectly into this chain space. Once completed, join with a slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch. That's all for round 3. Continue to crochet round 4. Work 3 chain stitches, which counts as 1 double crochet, then work 2 more chain stitches. Next, work 1 double crochet into the third single crochet below. Work 1 double crochet into the third single crochet below. Two chain stitches. For the rest of this round, skip 1 stitch each time. Work 1 double crochet. After each double crochet, work 2 chain stitches. Follow this pattern all the way around. Finally, join with a slip stitch into the third chain of the beginning chain. Now, round 4 is also done. Continue to crochet the 5th round. First, chain 5. Next, work 1 double treble crochet. Yarn over the hook 3 times. Insert the hook into the same spot as the slip stitch below. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over one after another. Pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. Repeat 4 times. This is a double treble crochet. We will treat the part we've crocheted as one special double treble crochet 2-stitch bobble stitch. Next, chain 7. Then, on the double crochet stitch on the left side, work 1 double treble crochet 2 bobble stitch. First, work 1 incomplete double treble crochet in this stitch. Which means pause when there are 2 loops left on the hook. In the same position, work 1 more identical incomplete stitch. Then yarn over, and pull the yarn through all loops at once. This is a double treble crochet 2 bobble stitch. Chain 7. For this round, next, you will work 1 bobble stitch in each double crochet stitch from the previous round, between each bobble stitch. Chain 7. Follow this pattern, and keep crocheting until the last bobble stitch is finished. Once completed, work 3 chain stitches. Then make 1 treble crochet in the starting stitch, which means wrapping the yarn twice before crocheting. Like this, round 5 is finished. Now continue with round 6. Begin with 3 chain stitches. Then in this large space, work 1 incomplete double crochet stitch, leaving 2 loops unworked on the hook as the end of a double crochet. Then work 1 incomplete double crochet stitch. Wrap the yarn, and pull through all loops at once. We'll consider this as one special DC3 bobble stitch. Next, work 6 chain stitches. Then in the 2 large spaces on the left side, work 1 single crochet in each, with 7 chain stitches in between. Once completed, work 6 chain stitches. For easier explanation, we'll consider this section we've worked as one group. I'll demonstrate another group. In the large space on the left side, work 1 DC3 bobble stitch. That means first work 3 incomplete double crochets in this large space. Wrap the yarn, and pull through all loops at once. 1 DC3 bobble stitch completed. Work 6 chain stitches. Then in the 2 large spaces on the left side, work 1 single crochet in each, work 7 chain stitches between them. Once completed, work 6 more chain stitches. Another group is completed. Next, everyone follow this method, finish the remaining groups. Once done, join with a slip stitch to the starting stitch. This way, round 6 is completed. Continue to round 7. Make 3 chain stitches. Then work 8 double crochets in the large space on the left side. Once completed, work 1 single crochet in the large space on the left side. Continue working in the large space on the left side, work 8 double crochets. Once completed, work 1 double crochet in the bobble stitch on the left side. At the same time, work 1 double crochet, 5 chains, and 1 double crochet. Once completed, in the large space on the left side, work another 8 double crochets. Once completed, Work 1 single crochet in the large space on the left side. Work 8 double crochets in the large space on the left side. Then in this bobble stitch, first work 1 double crochet. Next, work a picket of 5 chains. Commonly referred to as a picket later, meaning first work 5 chain stitches. Then pick up through the front loop of the previous double crochet, and a strand on the left side. Slip stitch. The oval-shaped solid dot indicates that the slip stitch should not be pulled tight. Picket complete. Continue working in this bobble stitch. Work 1 more double crochet. Then work 8 double crochets in the large space on the left side. Once completed, you can notice that in this bobble stitch, we worked 1 double crochet, 5 chain stitches, and 1 double crochet all together. And in this bobble stitch here, we worked 2 double crochets. On the first double crochet, we made a picket like this. To make it easier to explain, we will call the 8 double crochets worked in the large spaces on both sides of the bobble stitch, as well as the double crochets and chain stitches worked on the bobble stitch itself. A chain cluster. This one will be called a picket cluster. For the rest of this round, each time we'll work into the large space with 7 chains from the previous round. Work 1 single crochet in the bobble stitch and the large spaces on either side. Crochet this picket cluster or chain cluster. For the first motif, you can see, we'll next work 3 picket clusters and 2 chain clusters. The starting position here counts as a chain cluster. Refer to the chart, and keep crocheting until the 8 double crochets in the last large space. The swatch omits some stitch techniques in certain sections. Just follow the chart normally when crocheting. The following swatches may also omit some details, so we won't mention it again later. After completing the 8 double crochets in this large space, work 1 double crochet into the bobble stitch from the beginning, then chain 5. And slip stitch into the top of the starting chain. Pull tight. Then fasten off normally. Chain 1 to secure. Pull up the loop. Leave a yarn tail of 5-10 centimeters. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. Follow the texture of the fabric, and hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. You can also weave in the entire tail. If you prefer, that's all for the first large motif. Now let's move on to the second large motif. First, refer to the explanation of the first 6 rounds of the first motif. Complete the first 6 rounds normally. After finishing them, continue following the chart. Keep crocheting until you finish the first double crochet on the bobble stitch. After finishing that, next, I'll use this swatch to explain how to join. The swatch has already been crocheted with this double crochet. Next, work 2 chains. Then take the first motif. With the right side facing up. Find the third chain group counting from the right to the left. This is the picket stitch group. Into this space, work a slip stitch to join. We can insert the hook from the wrong side to crochet. Then work 2 chains. Here, 1 connection point is done. Continue on this puff stitch. Work 1 double crochet. Then into the left side space, work 8 double crochets. Once completed, we can call this group a joining group, meaning instead of the middle chain in the chain group, we work a slip stitch into the corresponding position. Everything else stays the same as the chain group. Next, into the large space on the left, work 1 single crochet. Then continue with another joining group. Let me demonstrate again. Work all the way down these 2 chains here. Once completed, onto the chain group adjacent to the left of the first motif. Work a slip stitch to join. Continue working the joining group. Once completed, continue referring to the chart. Finish this round. Pay attention to the changes in the groups. After completing, fasten off the yarn normally. This way, the second large motif is finished. All the following large motifs, the first 6 rounds are identical to the first one. Only the final round requires working different groups. Overall, there are 3 types of groups. The first type is a chain group. The second type is a picket stitch group. The third type is a connecting group. For positions that won't need to connect with any motifs later, you work picket stitch groups. For positions that need to connect with other motifs, if it's the one you crochet first, you work a chain group. If it's the one you crochet later, you work the connecting group, which means joining with a slip stitch into the corresponding large chain space. For example, the next third large motif is connected to the right side of the second large motif. There are 2 groups on the top. That should be chain groups. Because this area needs to connect with the 6th large motif. These two on the left are connecting groups. Because they need to connect with the two chain groups on the right side of the second large motif. Because the third motif's right side and bottom don't need to connect to any other motifs. For example, the sixth golden large motif has two chain groups on the top. The two on the left and the two at the bottom are connecting groups, which connect to the fifth and third large motifs respectively. The two on the right side are picket stitch groups, which won't need connecting later. Next groups. Please follow the pattern explained earlier. Combine the chart and motif layout diagram. Finish all the remaining large motifs. Pay attention to the topmost large motif. The two on the top are also picket stitch groups. This way, the large motifs are all done. Next we'll learn the small motifs. Small motifs also start with a chain ring. Crochet around the starting yarn loop. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Each small motif's final round needs to be connected to the large motif while crocheting. Please watch my demonstration of the specific crochet method. First, use the corresponding color yarn. Start with 5 chains. Then go back to the first chain position. Join with a slip stitch. After completing that, start crocheting the first round. Work 1 chain. Then in the large space created by the starting chain, work 8 single crochets. Don't make the single crochets too tight. You can make them slightly loose to make it convenient for later stitches. On the first single crochet, place a stitch marker to mark it. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a safety pin or paperclip instead. After completing that, don't join with a slip stitch. That's all for the first round. Continue to crochet the second round. Pay attention, the stitch patterns going forward will be a bit dense, so you'll need to be patient. First, on the first single crochet, work a front post double crochet in the slip stitch manner, which means on the right side, insert the hook into the stitch of the first single crochet. Pull out the needle through the adjacent stitch on the left. Crochet a slip stitch. If it's a bit difficult for you, you can temporarily remove the stitch marker. After finishing, just put it back in place. On the braid of this slip stitch, mark it as well. We'll use a stitch marker in a different color to tell them apart. Then crochet 7 chain stitches. Continue inserting the hook at the position where you just pulled out the needle. Pull out the needle through the adjacent stitch on the left. Crochet the front post stitch for the second slip stitch. Seven chain stitches. Follow this method. Keep inserting the hook at the position where you last pulled out the needle. Pull out the needle through the adjacent stitch on the left. Continue crocheting. Repeat this process 5 more times. When completed, when crocheting the slip stitch on the last single crochet, insert the hook at the position where you just pulled out the needle. Pull out the needle at the slip stitch position on the left. Slip stitch. 7 chain stitches. After finishing, there should be 8 chain loops here. Then pick up 2 strands at the starting slip stitch position and slip stitch. This stitch marker can now be removed. Tighten. Round 2 is completed. Continue crocheting round 3. Before working, let's take a look at the wrong side. This marker position is the first single crochet stitch position of round 1. We count these braids, which are the stitches of the single crochets from round 1. You should be able to count 8 of them. Next, we begin crocheting this round. First, make a chain as a transition. Then at this marker position, which is the first single crochet stitch of round 1, slip stitch. Do not remove this marker. If you can't find the position of this slip stitch, you can also continue and mark it on the braid of this slip stitch. Eight chains. Then on the adjacent braid on the left side, slip stitch. Eight chains. Continue on the remaining 6 braids on the left. Slip stitch one by one. After each slip stitch, you need to crochet 8 chains. Keep crocheting until you complete the last 8 chains. When done, at the slip stitch position, where this round starts, join with a slip stitch, which is the position we just marked. That's all for round 3. Continue to crochet round 4. This round continues to work on the stitches from round 1. First, crochet 1 chain stitch. Then on the stitch with this marker, crochet 1 single crochet. Pay attention, the braids from round 3 should be kept on top. We insert the hook from the back side like this. You can place a marker on this single crochet stitch. Attach one marker. Then crochet 4 chain stitches. Once done, we crochet 1 single crochet in the same insertion position on the left side of the slip stitch. You can crochet on the left side of the slip stitch. Don't wrap around this slip stitch. Four chain stitches. Continue each time in the same insertion position of the slip stitch. Crochet 1 single crochet on the left side. Make sure to keep the chain in front. Then always crochet 4 chain stitches. Keep crocheting until the last 4 chain stitches are done. Once completed, you can check and confirm. These 4 chain loops should be 8 in total. Then on the first single crochet stitch, join with a slip stitch. That's the end of round 4. Continue to crochet round 5. This round needs to be crocheted while connecting to the large motifs. Start with 1 chain stitch. In the same insertion position as the previous slip stitch, crochet 1 single crochet. If you can't distinguish this single crochet stitch, place a stitch marker to mark it. I won't do that here. Then crochet 8 chain stitches. Then take the completed large motif, right side facing up. Find any of these large spaces. At any connection position, insert the hook from the wrong side. Make a slip stitch. We can pick up a few threads at the connection point, or directly pick up here to crochet. After it's done, crochet another 8 chain stitches. Here one point is connected. Next, return to the first single crochet of the small motif where we started. Follow the insertion position of the picket stitch. Pick up the front loop of this single crochet, and 1 thread on the left side to slip stitch. For easier explanation, we'll consider these 8 chain stitches here as one joining slip stitch. The combination of 8 chain stitches and the slip stitch below is called group 1. Then crochet 3 chain stitches. Next, work 4 double crochets into the large space on the left side. Once done, crochet 2 chain stitches. Find the 5th double crochet on the large motif. Slip stitch into this stitch. We'll insert the hook from the wrong side as well. Then crochet 2 chain stitches, then return to the small flower. Insert the hook into the picket stitch as before. Slip stitch into the 4th double crochet. This connects the second point. Continue in the same space, work 4 more double crochets. Once done, 3 chain stitches. We'll work into the section we just completed after group 1, called group 2, starting from these 3 chains and ending with these 3 chains. Then into the left single crochet stitch, work 1 single crochet. Once completed, work another group 2, which starts with 3 chain stitches. Into the left space, work 4 double crochets first. Then work 2 chains. Locate the 5th stitch of the next section of double crochets. Insert into this stitch and slip stitch. Two chain stitches. Then go back to this double crochet and slip stitch. This connects the 3rd point. Continue by working 4 double crochets into this space. Then work 3 chains. Another group 2 is done. You can see 1 group 1 and 2 groups 2 make up one sequence. Next, repeat this sequence. Repeat it 3 more times. Note: after finishing each group, you must work 1 single crochet in the corresponding single crochet of round 4. Work 1 single crochet. Repeat this method. Continue working the remaining sequences. Group 1 is always placed at these joining points. Join with a slip stitch. Both groups 2 are connected to the middle double crochet. After completing the 3 chain stitches at the end of the last group 2, join with a slip stitch in the starting single crochet and fasten off the yarn. The stitch might not be very visible here. Just roughly pick up a few threads to crochet. Like this, one small motif is finished. Next, everyone follow the same method. Fill all the remaining large holes, each with a small motif. Up to this point, this scarf is finished. If you have any unclear parts during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.